Hello everybody, I'm Kamalea, welcome to my channel. Let's talk about Hearthstone. I had stopped pretty much completely playing this game a while ago, but shortly after the current expansion dropped, I started playing it again. I had stopped playing because, well, it just became too boring queuing up against the same decks again and again and again. Games were decided at turn 4 most of the time, and yeah, all those problems that I had with the game. But when I got back into Hearthstone, I actually had a ton of fun again. The games were extremely varied. Everybody was experimenting with decks, trying to make all the Death Knights work, combining the quests with the new cards, and trying to find out whether some cards are good or not, all those fun stuff. You never really knew what you would come up against, and you didn't more or less have to play one of 2 or 3 decks if you didn't want to get crushed. Sadly, this has changed by now, at least for me. The meta has become quite stale again, and about 90% of the time I play against one of 3 decks. The Tempo Kaliseth Rogue, Razakus Priest, or Highlander Priest, or whatever your name you want to give that deck, or Jade Druid. And on top of that, most of the time, neither of these matchups is particularly interesting. Against Razakus Priest, at least with the decks that I like to play, I essentially just have to hope that his Death Knight and or Raza are very deep in his deck. If that is the case, I actually usually win. If he gets them early, I usually lose. The main determining factor there has nothing to do with his or my skill, and for me that is quite a big problem. Because, well, I cannot influence his deck in any way. I can play better and then that makes his Raza or his Death Knight go deeper into his deck and that buys me more time. I just have to hope. And yeah, that's not interesting. Against Kaliseth Rogue, my biggest problem there is that the high roll potential is just insane. If he doesn't get Kaliseth early, these games are actually the most fun for me out of those 3 matchups. They still have the problem that they get decided quite early on, quite often. But still, it's a back and forth, we both have a chance to win usually. It's interesting. But if he gets Kaliseth early on, like turn 2, turn 3, it becomes problematic. And if he really high rolls and gets Kaliseth on turn 2 and shadow steps him once or twice, or anything like that, double, triple Kaliseth early in the game, then there's essentially no point in even playing that out. I can just give up instantly, because there's no point. I'm not going to win that. Sure, there might be some games where some freakish things happen and I still win against the double Kaliseth on turn 3. But those are few and far between, and I have to be so incredibly lucky for that it again feels like it's not really my doing. And Jade Druid, well, I think Jade on its own is quite a problematic mechanic already. And when my opponent has 10 mana when I'm at 5, but he still has more cards in his hand thanks to Ultimate Infestation, that is just painful. If you can get all the advantages of a ramp without any of the disadvantages, that's just crap in my view. So again, main problem here is that this deck has just too much high roll potential. If my opponent gets too many of his ramp cards plus Ultimate Infestation early on, then there's pretty much nothing I can do with the kinds of decks that I like to play. I'm going to lose, because he'll be at insane levels of insane mana amounts. He will still be able to kill the stuff on my board, and he will still have a full hand of cards. And it's just, yeah, I don't know what the point of that is. So, bottom line, with the situation the game has for me right now, always running into the same 3 decks, like 90% of the time, and the outcome of the game being dictated far too much by card distribution luck, even for Hearthstone standards. I mean, I know it's Hearthstone, it's a card game, and luck has always been a part of it, and card distribution luck as well. I know that. That has always been the case, that will always be the case. And that's okay. But for me, this has reached a point where it's just insane. And yeah, that probably means for me that I will stop touching the game until the next expansion comes out. Hopefully that will make the game more fun again, at least for a couple of weeks. So yeah, it's my question to you. Is it the same for you, also running only into these decks, or has it something to do with me playing in Europe and it's different everywhere else, or is it just the rank range that I play in, like 10 to, I don't know, 5, 4, that area where I play? I'm curious. Or do you actually like playing against that? It's also possible. Well, until then, I'm Kamaleao. Have a good time.